Hello everybody, you have Rocky and you have Harold, and we are here to talk to you about love, life, marriage, and business. And Harold and I have been married for over 20 years. We have been together just under 30 years, and we thought we've learned a lot of life lessons enough to just share with everyone else. Hopefully our mistakes will not be yours. And so today we want to start with at the beginning, right?
Our origin story.
We want to tell our origin story, and that'll tell you if you think that our story is interesting enough to keep following along and learn those lessons that we have over the past almost 30 years. So I'm going to let you start with your story, Harold, and I'll be over here fact checking while he's telling his story.
Right. So you can describe us as the entrepreneur and the executive, and we're going to discuss how we ended up in our different lanes throughout the 30 years that we've been together, through the ups and downs of our careers. So I'll start with my story. Personally, we started off as entrepreneurs in the early 2000s, and mainly in real estate and what we did. And when the market started to turn around 2008, we decided to go and get jobs. Just the real estate market, we didn't feel at the time was sustainable, but that's a topic for another video, and how we made mistakes even back then going into a down real estate market. So we ended up getting like temp jobs together, and she was excelling in her temp job and I was crashing in my temp job. And what I realized is that's just kind of part of my nature, and I don't know, it's debatable, but it's one of those things where, you know, I feel that some innate personalities just don't mesh well. As much as you try, it just doesn't work. I wasn't excelling. I've always been a hard worker, and I've always been fascinated with leadership. So long story short, as we say.
Mm-hmm. Usually it's a short story long.
Short story long. We both went into the corporate world. I guess coaching is kind of sort of the corporate world, working for others. And things transpired in my life where I felt it was time for me to start my own company. So from there, that's where I became an entrepreneur. And I've been an entrepreneur since 2021. So that's pretty much where I am now.
Yeah, my origin story, similar. He told parts of it. I actually went to school to, be a doctor, believe it or not. And I started out in college as a lab biologist, and being in medicine just didn't work out. However, following along with my husband's vision, we decided to try a few entrepreneurial ventures. Which were all great lessons, and I think set me up for success for my corporate career, to be honest. A lot of the things like writing business plans and marketing and just understanding how to build things from the ground up actually became my forte and my strong suit as I moved into corporate. So at the same time, as he told you, we were working temp jobs, just trying to figure out what was next and seeing the crash coming. Mm-hmm. We both picked up jobs. I got a call to work in cybersecurity, which I'd never heard of at the time, right? I'm like, are you sure you got the right number? Because all the work I had done was, in the sciences, in education, or being an entrepreneur. So what they told me was that they were looking for folks who had, sort of what they called methodical minds with an entrepreneurial spirit. And I said, hey, that's me. So I took a chance and took that job, and again, began to excel and everything else like that. But what's funny is, the things that I did well in that job came from being an entrepreneur. I was the person who set up new business units, figured out how they would work, and then passed them off and start the next. Because it was a pretty young company, but they looked to me to build that out for the business. So that became my job. And then fast forward, how many every years later, I'm in a Fortune 5 company. Mm-hmm. And that's what I do here as well. I was brought in to literally build up incubation practices, mm-hmm. and start off things that are new. So I thank my entrepreneurial days for that. However, being an entrepreneur, I just don't have the appetite for that. And it has a lot to do with, my upbringing, things that I've observed, and just my appetite for risk. So we can talk about that some other time, but that's my origin story.
Right. So who is this channel for? This channel is for a few people. the first person, maybe you're a young or an established married couple and you're trying to figure out the secret to longevity. We've been married for 21 years and we've been together for just under 30 years. So maybe you're looking for some advice on the longevity of a marriage. Maybe you're looking to advance your career. You have no interest in entrepreneurship and you want tips and tricks on how to advance your career, whether it's resume building, whether it's salary negotiation, things of that nature. Or maybe you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. And I will share my experience in being an entrepreneur and building my current company from the ground up. Now, some of the mistakes I made, some of the successes and the things I've learned as an entrepreneur in this world. So no matter what business you're considering starting, I believe this channel can give you great information on the right steps to take and avoid some of the mistakes we've made.
So I know we teased you with the idea that I'm the executive and he's the entrepreneur, but we thought it would be interesting if we go down that pipe just a little bit with you and explain why we feel the way we feel about our careers. So what did you ask me earlier?
Well, we talk about it, but I want to ask you in front of our audience, what is it that makes you more comfortable with the corporate route?
Well, I'm going to put it in one word and then, well, two words, sorry, to a phrase, and then I'll tell you what that means. For me, it's perceived safety. That's the phrase I'm going to use. And a lot of people say, as long as I get my check every 2 weeks, we good. You know what I mean? So I feel like, especially the type of company that I work for, in my mind, I have this psychological safety to do my job, do my work the best that I feel that I can, and know that it'll still be there in 2 weeks and I will routinely get paid. I don't have to go out and hunt for my check. Now, granted, I may still have to hunt to get the accolades, to go ahead and get the, get the promotions or get compensation increases, things that I still have to hunt. I still have to hunt to remain employed, but it's a different type of hunt where if I don't get up out the bed, I don't eat, right? I can take days off where I work and I will still eat. However, entrepreneur spirit, there's a lot of risk involved. You are at the whim of your clients' moods and having to like pamper those moods and things like that. Not 100% different from the corporate world. However, if one client has a mood that day, I can move on to the next. They have a whole bevy of people that I can work with, and it doesn't dictate whether I will eat or not tomorrow. So I like that perceived safety. And again, I use the word perceived intentionally because my supervisor could be in the mood and say, you know what, I don't want you here anymore. Or the company could experience some sort of a downturn and then a whole bunch of people have to go. However, while I'm in it and while those extreme factors are not happening, I feel safe and I feel comfortable, and I feel safe and comfortable enough to experiment in what I'm doing, because I know if this doesn't work, the company doesn't blow up, I get another day, I get another day, I get another day to do what I want to do. So for me, it's the perceived safety. Okay. So I'm going to flip it on you.
Okay.
Why entrepreneurship?
Right.
Come over to my side.
Right. Well, your side is actually a really good side. And if you're out there and you're a couple, whether it's the husband or the wife, whoever has the entrepreneurial spirit, if I gave any advice, it would be, if you're starting your company, one person really should have a 9-to-5 and at very most be part-time in the entrepreneurial venture, while the other person really should be full-time in it trying to build it. I will say this, and it's going to seem kind of contradictory, but I don't wish entrepreneurship on anybody because it's extremely difficult to do. And you have a lot of YouTube channels that tell you you can just open up shop, hang a sign, and you're a millionaire, 3 weeks later. It doesn't work like that. So entrepreneurship is very tough. And I'm not trying to demotivate or scare anyone from being an entrepreneur, but it is tough. And from my standpoint, the reason I chose the entrepreneur route is, for one, both of us were working and I felt that it was just routine for us. The second thing is, just with my leadership style, I really need to have input in my fate, in my future, and in control of it. And I didn't feel like I had that as an employee. The third thing is, although entrepreneurship is hard, I explained to my wife, you can never sell your job to someone else. Whereas as an entrepreneur, you can build it. And if you're good at building it, which hopefully this channel will help you become good at building it, you can sell it. So while a lot of people on the corporate side are working and trying to save with 401ks or pensions or things of that nature, on the entrepreneurship side, there's a sense of control of your own destiny. And I know some people say you can't control your destiny, but there's control of your outcome. And that's why I choose entrepreneurship, even though it is tough. And another reason I choose it is because in the industry that I'm in, it's very transitory. So we're transactional, and if we don't get along, we don't get along for a certain period of time, but I move on to someone else. So as an entrepreneur, I'm still working for other people. You never stop working for other people, whether it's sales, whether it's services, you're always going to work for someone else.
But you get to choose
But you get to choose who you work for. So that's the important thing about being an entrepreneur.
All right, so hopefully we were able to capture some of the salient points of what we'll be talking about. In addition, we'll sprinkle in a little bit of parenting because we got that going too.
Right.
And hopefully that was interesting to you. If you feel like you relate, I would say hit that subscribe button. Definitely come back. Hit the notification bell so you know when we post next. What would you like to say to close out?
I'll just say this channel is going to be an authentic channel. We don't script this channel, so we may say things that are not proper or whatever, that doesn't flow as smooth, not as order. But
talk over each other.
Yeah, but if you tune into this channel, you're going to learn a lot about marriage, about entrepreneurship, about ascending in your career. And this is important to us. I know she has her own YouTube channel. I'm not really interested in all the likes. I'm more interested in the impact. And I just felt like as an avid YouTube watcher, I realized that everybody talks about the same things, and they make everything seems like it's just within a snap of a finger. So we're going to give you realistic advice, real scenarios on our journey as an entrepreneur and an executive. So stay tuned. If you want to learn and grow, this is the channel for you.
Bye.